Yo, what's up, GameLeapers? Coach Cheese is back at it, and in this video you will find out the 20 champions affected most by the massive buffs and nerfs thus far in 11.3, because with each patch there are a bunch of changes that influence the league landscape, so to know which champions you should or shouldn't keep playing for the rest of this patch, in just the next 10 minutes you are going to have all the information you need. Now before we get into it guys, I'm going to remind you, GameLeap.com, our site is as hot as a GameStop share, so if you want to take your game to the next level with exclusive help from the Cheese and heaps of other challenger level players and coaches, then don't waste any time and click on one of the links in the description and comment section. Alright, it's time to send it, and the first champion on our countdown is one of the most banned champs in the game, and you're probably going to want to keep on banning YASUO for the rest of 11.3. You see, the thing is guys, if YASUO wasn't broken enough already, Riot's ingenious balance team added some power to Immortal Shield Bow to help out AD carries, forgetting that this item is also the go-to mythic for Yas. We also can't forget that yes, you only need 2 critical strike items to attain 100% crit, which is nuts at the moment, and that attack speed growth buff you got in turn 25 is still here, so your mid-game and scaling in general is arguably the best on the Rift. Now as a result, Yasuo's win rate has gone up 1% after just a couple of days, and this is huge for a champion that should normally require some level of mastery in order to win. It's like anyone can pick him now and do well. Let me know if you're one of these players, by the way. Alright, up next is a champion who got directly buffed in 11.3, and his win rate in turn has gone up 1%. So for EZREAL guys, right, increase your Q's damage ratio, and though it looks like nothing, this 10% increase means your Q will deal close to 10 more damage in the early game, and late game this can account for up to 40 extra damage, and remember, you have your Q up almost permanently, so you are even stronger the later the game goes. So EZREAL has for sure become more viable, but does this then mean he can compete with the likes of Jhin, Kai'Sa and Vayne? Unfortunately not. Your mythic spike is still lacking big time, and you only really come online once Muramana is finished. Now if any of you have actually played EZREAL since the buff, let me know if you notice a difference playing him. Now this next champion is an interesting one because his win rate has dropped 1%, and the only changes that affected SWAIN this patch was the Zhonya's Hourglass nerf and buff to Chemtech Putrefier, but apparently these are big. I guess your mid-game Zhonya's spike is stalled a little and Grievous wins are more accessible, but it still doesn't warrant a 1% decrease in win rate, or does it? You know, maybe less players are playing him as a bot lane AB carry, which is by far his best role, and more as a support, a role in which he loses way more, maybe that's it. Speaking of the support role, the next champion on our countdown is one who is enjoying more success so far this patch, and again, it's really hard to put my finger on it, just like it is to make it through another Pro Guards ad, but let me have a crack. Now RAKAN guys has always been a great all-around support, but if you want a hard engager, you can just pick Leona, and if you want a peeler, you can just pick Lulu. But after the Shurelya's Battle Song buff in 11.2, more RAKAN players are building this as their mythic, and it seems to be paying dividends. The movement speed allows you to engage even better than before, and provides more utility to your vulnerable carries. Now on top of that, the Staff of Flowing Water nerf has made spellcasting supports a little weaker, so RAKAN is actually worth more value now. Okay, moving on to the next champion, and despite more nerfs, if you're a mid laner, there is no reason to stop playing Anivia, despite her win rate dropping over 1%. You see, Rito nerfed your Q's damage and added cooldown to your ultimate at later levels, and yet this obviously isn't helping, but your major strengths are all still there. If you just clip someone with your Flash Frost, your E deals twice as much damage, and you can make up for the extra cooldown in your R by building Liandry's Anguish. The reason for this guys is because Liandry's mythic passive gives you 5 ability haste for each legendary item you have, so by level 16 your Glacial Storm will be on close to a 1 second cooldown anyway. And the Banshee's Veil buff this patch also helps you out, so if you're against an Annie, a Malzahar, a Syndra, these matchups are a lot easier. Anivia still has over a 52% win rate, so still top tier. Alright, coming in at number 15 guys is a jungler who is frothing 11.3 because of a particular mythic item buff and a nerf to those around him. You see, as Graves, Shield Bow got buffed, and though you might not build this every game, the fact it offers more attack damage and attack speed is a huge bonus. You know, you and your abilities hit harder, and what's perhaps the biggest help this patch is the fact that bruisers are weaker because of all the nerfs to Goredrinker, Ravenous Hydra, Ceres Gage. It's pushed champions like Olaf and Kayn down, and you up. So this patch there are less threats in the jungle, and games are more 1v9able. Graves' win rate is up by over 1% guys, so consider playing him. Now next on the countdown is a top laner who got directly buffed in 11.3 and indirectly buffed due to a buff to his mythic item. A lot of buffs there. So Mordekaiser's win rate has increased by over 1% as well guys, and yeah, these are the two main reasons. Your E is on a lower cooldown, meaning you can engage and disengage engaged more often, meaning your laning phase is more stable, and Riftmaker gives you double the health now and AP for each legendary item you have. Now this has somewhat fixed Mord's big problem that his Mythic Spike pales in comparison to the spike of a Camille with Trinity Force, let's say, or even a Nasus with Divine Sunderer, so this is good. And what's also helped is the multiple nerfs to the bruiser items I mentioned earlier, meaning those AD fighters you struggle against, like Camille, Wukong, Darius, are less scary. Alright, we're heading back into the jungle for number 13 on our countdown, guys, and I'm very surprised ELISE's win rate has only dropped by just over 1%. Not only did ELISE get nerfed herself, but also 2 core items. So your human form Q deals less damage at later ranks, and this is important because you max this first, meaning you're less of an early to mid game threat, and your spider form W got hit too at later ranks, so your clear speed and DPS is a little worse. Now if that wasn't enough, Zhonya's Hourglass is now 100 gold more expensive, and Lichbane gives you 10 less AP. So after hearing that, you would expect ELISE to have much lower than a 52% win rate, right? Maybe the bruiser nerfs and the fact you're a great solo queue champion because of your kit make up for it to some extent. Alright, next champion, guys. This one is very placebo indeed because not much affected Rumble this patch despite his win rate dropping over 1%. Now you might argue that Seeker's Arm Guard and Zhonya's Hourglass got nerfed, but it's not like every champion who builds Zhonya's dropped this much in win rate, so something else is going on here. I mean, as a mid laner, Rumble actually has a great win rate across the board. It's just as a top laner, he straight up sucks. So if you're playing Rumble top and making my job harder, please stop. But yeah, keep playing Rumble mid, guys, with a Night Harvester and Sorcery Shoes, nothing to worry about. Okay, it's time to head back to the bot lane, and this next champion is another ranged AD champion, thanking Riot for the shield bow buffs. Now, SAMIRA is still the most banned champion in the game, guys, and this patch she is stronger, which is shown by the 1.2% increase in win rate. More attack damage and more attack speed, this only makes you stronger, and I think the Staff of Flowing Water nerf and SERAPHINE nerf also helps SAMIRA out, because players are going to opt for more heavy CC supports, and these champions like Leona, EZREAL are ideal because you can then make use of your passive knockup and go ham. Now, SAMIRA is also one of the few AD carries you can play where you don't actually have to rely on your team, so if she's available to play, guys, get Blade Whirling. Alright, we're now into the top 10, guys, and a quick friendly reminder that when this video ends, to check out the GameLeap website for exclusive access to our red hot daily content that is designed to help you escape the depths of Elo hell. So yeah, achieving your season 11 goals one click away, links down below. Now, number 10 on the countdown is a champion who had the highest win rate out of everyone a couple of patches ago, but is continuing to fall from grace. So the nerfs this patch have weakened Ivan again, with his win rate dropping 1.3%, which doesn't sound like much, but the fact his overall win rate has gone from 54% to just 50 in just a few weeks is a tough pill to swallow. For Ivan mains, that is, I don't really care. Yeah, right, nerfed your health growth and E-shield, so you're way more killable and you don't have as much utility for the boys. Now, your effectiveness is also down because of the Staff of Flowing Water nerf, so your shields are even weaker, and all this has seen Ivan go from S tier to, well, not D tier, so let's go with middle of the pack, which is still a big decline. Okay, this next champion, guys, is one who had close to a 55% win rate last patch, and it's no surprise this was targeted by Riot's balance team for 11-3. Now, SERAPHINE is still strong, guys, so if you're playing her as a support, AP carry, a mid laner, whatever it is, you will still do well, just not as well. So your no damage is down, meaning your poke in lane is less oppressive, and your W shields are not as strong. Also, like Ivan, the Staff of Flowing Water nerf means your harass, your poke, your damage, your healing and shielding, it's all weaker. But despite dropping 1.3% in win rate, you still have close to a 53% overall, so she is still one of the premier supports this patch. Now, whenever you see YASUO on a champions video, you can bet your GameLeap subscription that his half-brother is in it too. And for YONE, this patch has been even more of a help because Shield Bow, if you haven't heard me say it enough times already, got buffed, and you are the best abuser of this item. Not only does the life still work off your Q, but also your W, and your scaling is still out of this world, so there is no surprise that your win rate has increased by almost 1.5%. He's the best mid laner this patch, guys, so get around him, but he's not bad. Alright, we have another mid laner next on the countdown, guys, and this is another placebo change because, yeah, there are no drastic changes in the 11-3 notes that affect Cassiopeia enough to warrant a 1.4% decrease in win rate. Like your hard counters, Fizz and Anivia are still picked the same amount and are even weaker this patch. Even Olaf being weaker is great because his ultimate count is yours. Tanks being stronger as well is actually good because of your tick damage and Leandri's Anguish. So if anyone wants to let me know in the comments why this patch cut Cassio so much, feel free. I mean, she has played a little more, so maybe Mr. Mechanics and his mates have started playing her, not sure. Okay, number 6 on the countdown, guys, who performs okay-ish in high elo, but struggles heaps in lower levels of play, and it's even worse this patch. So if you're playing Kindred, yeah, fun times, they don't exist. Because of the jungle meta revolving around champions who can power farm and smash through the camps quickly, Kindred is being left behind. You can clear blue, red, and Grom fine, but when it comes to camps with more than one monster, you don't have the AoE of a Nidalee, of a Graves, of a Hecarim, and if you choose to invade and put pressure on these champions, that lead you create can easily be cancelled out because, yeah, you just lack the clear speed to maintain it. Your ult cooldown being 3 minutes as well doesn't help you in the all-important early to mid game either. Alright, we're into the top 5, guys, and understandably, because of the direct nerfs and nerfs to 1 or 2 of his items, Pantheon is holding the 5th spot on our countdown. Now, the nerfs to your Q have certainly weakened your early laning phase, so you're less of a lane bully, and Jungle Pantheon is now out the window. I mean, some of you are still playing Jungle Path, so this might also play into the 1.7% decrease in win rate too. Regardless, Pantheon is still one of the best mid laners in particular you can play because his kit counters so many popular picks like Yone, YASUO, and Zed, and his power spike with the Mythic Eclipse is still legit. So yeah, you still have enough power to 1v9 on Panth, guys, despite the jabs. Now, moving on to the number 4 on our countdown, and I said this champion was going to be the second best in 11.3, and I still believe it. So if you want free wins from the jungle this patch, guys, Shyvana is the one. She is the Neo of 11.3. Her win rate has increased by over 2%, and this will continue to grow as more people start playing her. And this is because Riot added an AP ratio to your Q and your W's movement speed, and we all know the damage you already deal with your Dragon E and Dark Harvest, so these buffs are honestly huge. Remember what I said about Kindred as well. She sucks because she can't clear camps. Well, Shyvana is one of the best at powering through monsters, so your scaling is guaranteed every game. Spamming fireballs has never been more busted. Now, I want every top laner watching this video to tell me what it's like to play as or against a Riven this patch. The thing is, guys, Riven's win rate has increased by over 2%, and it goes to show how much the E buffs actually meant because your 3 core items got nerfed. Like every other bruiser's win rate who builds the same items has decreased. So having your dash and shield up more often, and late game this can be close to every 3 seconds, which is ridiculous, makes you the best 1v1er on the Rift at the moment, no troll. Now, it goes without saying this doesn't mean you can just start playing her and win. She is very hard to master with the animation cancelling and all the matchup knowledge you need, but once you get even remotely close to that, it's GG. Alright, number 2 on our countdown, guys, is a champion similar to Mordekaiser. He's an off-tank mage that got directly buffed this patch and indirectly buffed from the Riftmaker change. It's just that Riot buffing Singed AP ratio in his Q means more, so much more that his win rate has increased 2.9% in 2 days of play. Now, like Mord after the Riftmaker nerfs in the preseason, you sucked, but the fact it now gives you 300 health and more AP for each legendary is massive. You actually have a mythic spike, and with the extra 10% damage from your Q, you can actually duel and win top lane now. And against teams with lots of AP, the Force of Nature buff gives you a better chance to dance around the enemy's skill shots and cause carnage. Okay, the biggest win rate change of 11.3, guys, here we are, and the 2 direct nerfs to this champion and nerfs to his major items have seen his win rate drop well over 3% to just 48% overall. Now, if you're happy to hear this, I want you to let us know by liking the video, and it is none other than Olaf. The health nerf, the passive nerf, the nerf to Gore Drinker, and Sterix Gauge have taken their toll on the Viking, and you can still play him of course and do fine, but he's no longer pick or ban. Thanks so much for watching the video, guys. Remember to subscribe and turn on all notifications so you do not miss tomorrow's upload. This has been Coach. Peace.